This is Brian Brown, and I am interviewing Ben Hickey at Massillon Museum of Art in Monroe, Louisiana. Ben, tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are and where you're from.
I am from Buffalo, New York originally. I'm the curator of collections and exhibitions at the Massillon Museum of Art presently. Went to undergraduate at Canisius College in Buffalo, got my graduate degree, my master's in art history at the University of California, Riverside.
First question is, what do you see as the role of visual arts in our mass media world, and particularly in your profession?
I think in some senses it provides direction. In certain ways it'll kind of decide what's good and what's bad. And then coming back out the other direction, it's a good indicator of what is important to culture in general. It can be used, they say pictures are worth 1,000 words. When people start talking about the Renaissance, there's a lot going on, but in interesting ways, a whole period or a whole way of creating culture can be summarized nicely with art. And I think it's a more interactive and more easily accessible entry into history.
With new communications and media technology, imagery is almost instantly available. Do you believe this is having a positive or negative influence on the industry? And can you provide an example of that?
Well, it's hard because in some ways I don't think of some parts of visual culture I think of as an industry, and then other parts I don't. Like museums, it's the public trust. We're keepers of history.
Right.
But then like the commercial galleries we work with to get art in here sometimes, I consider them to be an industry. We're kind of like a non-profit, but then we're very, we're odd bedfellows, it's kind of gray area. And so I think it's really good because you can connect with collaborators really quickly.
Right.
And you get instant gratification. You can weed out the herd really fast. You know what's good, what's bad quickly. Then in the same breath, it makes it harder. There's more to do. You have to, and then it makes it really easy for strangers that you don't know. So it's made it really, it's a great useful tool, but in the same breath, and this is going to sound really snobby, but I'm going to give you an honest answer, it's created a lot of intellectual pollution. You can't trust Wikipedia necessarily.
What popular images do you see that are frequently rechanneled through the entertainment industry?
Just archetypes, not a specific image, but the types of imagery you're bombarded with, like pretty lady in a cocktail dress, or man in luxury car, that kind of thing. Then you do have some specific images that are recycled over and over again, but more it's like the type of characters that are recycled.
Are there particular images that this industry has popularized and or created?
I guess abstract painting would be one thing. There's always that pull between an elitist, group of experts and then like a populist movement.
Right.
And I think the one thing that, if you want to call it an industry, the museum and our culture industry wants to put forth is, and sometimes to its own detriment, highly abstract artwork over and over and over again. I think it's extremely valuable to be able to express yourself like that, but I don't want to put that forward at the cost of eliminating, for example, more representational art.
Who is one of your favorite visual artists? Or what is your favorite style of visual art?
I don't have either. Because of I try to not have favorites. I used to sort of have a few front runners, but as I've moved into kind of the more white collar end of museums, and I'm responsible for programming, especially in a small museum. Remember how I was talking about not wanting to put abstract art over representational art? I'm responsible for a very large geographic area. We're the only art museum for a very long way. I want people to come, and I want people to be able to see great abstract art, but I want them to also be able to see great representational art with that Benton right there. So I try and stuff that down and not have that.
How has your knowledge of famous artwork influenced your creative process?
It's made me want artists I work with to justify the choices they make. And it's made me have to be able to justify the choices they make then in turn. So I always want to know why they've made the choices they've made and see how it stands up to their predecessors.